This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, Ira. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Apprehensive and waiting and wondering what the next approach is with a player who has missed 14 of the last 19 games.
Yeah, it's just I just don't I don't understand why you would bring him back and put your team through this and put the young players through this and put your amazing coach through this. I really don't understand I don't understand the method behind the madness. Outside of cheapness, that's the only thing I can blame it on. There's nothing productive out of it. That's my problem with all this. There's nothing productive outside of you trying to say, and you're not getting your money's worth anyway. And nobody is going to a game to watch Jimmy Butler play. They might be watching Jimmy Butler, the soap opera, but they're not watching for Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Ball.
No, you know what, Big O? We're at the point now. At the start, it was a sort of caveat emptor. You didn't know if Jimmy was playing or not, and you did buy a ticket to see him play. You'd have to be the most clueless non-fan to be thinking whether it's tonight against the Orlando Magic on Monday, whether it's Wednesday against the Cleveland Cavaliers, where you can't argue, hey, I bought a ticket to see Jimmy Butler play, because you have to know by now. This is not days. This is not weeks. We're heading into the second month of this. We're in the second month of this. It's sort of a given, but it sucks because it's so unfair to the rest of the players. It's so unfair to the coaches, and that's on the front office. The front office's only job is they're not on the road. They're not dealing with the snow and the weather and the late arrivals and the early wake-up calls, is to put the team and the coach in the best position to win. So far, through this whole soap opera, they have done anything but that. Poor Erik Spoelstra. What does he do today? They give him Jimmy Butler. They said, according to the union and the rules, Jimmy has to be allowed to be available. Now do what you want. Well, which is worse, having Jimmy lollygagging on the court, playing offense 4-on-5, or having some sort of clown show on the bench where he's on the end of the bench, goofing around, staring in the crowd, making himself the focus? Either way, it's not fair to Erik Spoelstra, his staff, or the other players out there. That's why you resolve this one way or the other. It can't be 4 games off, 7-game suspension, 3 games back, 2-game suspension. That's not the way the professional Miami Heat run.
Very professional.
But Jimmy has changed that calculus, which once again reinforces what you and I have already known. We spoke about it on our Accurate Pembroke Pines report. The players rule the roost in the NBA, and that is not changing.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but it's just, to me, and by the way, I'm going with the latter. I'm keeping him on the bench because at least I'm going to limit the clown show to the back end of the bench, not on the court, the business of the court. So since you are going to part ways with the guy one way or another, then start parting ways with him at least on the court, and let those guys walk onto the court with the peace of mind of, hey, it's our team now.
I agree. I agree with all that, and I think this will be the moment when Erik Spoelstra says enough is enough. But you know how it is, Big O, in this clown show of an NBA. So we do the introductions. All of a sudden, we're shocked because Jimmy is not introduced and someone else is introduced as the starting guard, and fine, and we move forward. And instead of Jimmy, you get Haywood Highsmith. But Jimmy on the bench, are you telling me that he's going to be a Boy Scout? Are you telling me that Jimmy in his warm-up is going to be engaged during the huddles or not creating his own little scene? That's the thing, is I would take the league sanctions. I would take the fines, and I'd say, you know what?
Me too.
You get to show up. You get to use our facilities. We have a hot tub. We have a cold tub. We have a weight room. We have a training staff. Go back in there. Do whatever you want. We have a lot of big screen TVs. You can watch our game. You can watch other games. You can watch the hockey game. We don't care. That's what I would do.
Watch the Suns. Go watch the Suns.
Yes, exactly. So go wear your other team's colors. Wear your Suns colorway on your sneakers. But enough is enough. And here's the deal. If Jimmy believes he's been disrespected by Pat Riley, if he believes he's been disrespected on contract negotiations, if he believes he's been disrespected by Erik Spoelstra by not designing an offense around a player who might be leaving at any moment, he has the right to do that. But do you have to be an ass? Do you have to end your legacy in a way? These were 5 very good years, Big O. These were 3 trips to the Eastern Conference Finals. These were 2 trips to the NBA Finals. Why not let it end that way? Why not create the opening? And
this is who he is. This is what he's always been. Nothing changed. It's just that it was just hidden for a while, but Jimmy is who he is. This is Jimmy Butler, the guy
the Miami Heat, through their way of doing things.
Saw the last 5 years was a fraud, actually.
Or a professional organization that handled it the right way.
Right. It's Pittsburgh Steelers with Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell. It's a great organization, but they kept those 3 idiots in check as much as they could. God bless Mike Tomlin, bro.
Right. And God bless Erik Spoelstra and Pat Riley to this moment.
I wonder if Erik Spoelstra is giving Mike Tomlin a call. Going, hey, so how do you handle this kind of stuff?
But you know what it is? It's like a ticking time bomb. It kept ticking to the moment, and everyone saw it coming. Big O, did we think we get 5 years? Did we think we get 4? Did we think we get 3? It was borrowed time. The Miami Heat were on borrowed time, and now the clock hit 0, and it expired, and you're there. But here's the deal, Big O. You know you're there. You know you're at the point of no return. Delusion is telling yourself, you know what? We'll play out till the February 6th NBA trading deadline. Jimmy will have no other choice. He'll have to come in here. He'll have to play. He'll have to be a good citizen. He'll be playoff Jimmy because he might as well be when he's out there. Man, that seems like a reach as we're talking right now at the end of January, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. By the way, Friday night, Kansas opened up with point of no return. So just to make a little note there on Friday night. So,
hey, use it during the introductions tonight. I'm fine with that. Yeah, I have no issue with that. Yeah.
All right. So what are we doing here? Because it seems like there's no progress. It seems like all the NBA folks are talking like Suns don't really have what it takes. They can't find the extra teams, all of that stuff. Everybody's kind of thinking that this thing's going to go beyond the deadline then.
Well, but here's the deal. Right now, the only urgency in all of this is Miami and Phoenix. Those 2 teams, they have an urgency. Phoenix has to do something to be better. They're bad. The Heat have to do something. It's a bad situation. So we probably will have to wait till we get closer to the February 6th trading deadline when all the other teams go, what's in this for me? What can you do for me? What kind of picks do you have? What kind of salary cap relief do you have? What kind of quality players do you have? Who else are you throwing in there? So you probably will have to wait. The Heat have a reason to get it done. The Suns have a reason to get it done. The rest of the league is just a bunch of facilitators. Here's the point. The Heat are not going to win this trade because you never win with Jimmy Butler. They have to take the best available package because you can't have this thing linger for months. It's not fair to Ware, to Pelle Larson, to Bam Adebayo, to Tyler Hero, and in the middle of his all-star season. I'm not sure even NBA coaches, when they're voting this week and they're going to submit their all-star reserves, aren't looking at the Heat and Tyler Hero and going, yeah, that team's a clown show. I'm going to pick someone from a team that's legitimately trying to do something in this league, and Tyler gets screwed because of it. Jimmy has screwed a lot of teammates, and don't for a moment think that they haven't noticed.
Oh, no, of course. That's why he couldn't recruit. Dwayne Wade was a great recruiter for himself and for the team. This guy wasn't able to recruit anybody here, and that was the problem when they made this trade. That was the one thing I kept saying. If you don't acquire another star, this trade will not be what you want to get it out of, although they maximized it even better than I ever thought. Because
that's the thing is they pushed the limit farther. We know you're on record. This contract never should have been offered. They took a chance. They got value out of this contract for 2 years. They did. They went to the NBA Finals. They were competitive. But at a certain point, yeah, enough is enough. Pat Riley didn't recognize that. Pat Riley has almost always been ahead of the curve during his career. Hey, you know what? We all need a mulligan. We all miss one. We're all off on one. He thought he can control Jimmy Butler like he did control almost every other player. Hey, he misjudged the situation. It happens. It doesn't make him a failure. It just makes this a mistake.
Yeah, no. I mean, well, it's not a fail because you've gone to a couple finals and a couple Eastern Conference finals. So there's no failure here. The failure was in the handling of, or the failure was you thinking that you can handle this situation, unfortunately.
Yes.
And that's kind of been a problem for Riley here the last 10 years, dude, whether it's Whiteside, whether it's the Dwayne Dedman thing, whether it's now the Butler thing, and there's probably a few other, Lowry, whatever. There's been some stuff now because today's player, he's not on the court anymore. He's not the guy cracking the whip all the time. So when you're being acquired by the same guy that's coaching you, it was a different environment where he could really manipulate the situation a lot more. And players were different too then. Now he's not in that room. And Erik is a different type of individual than he is. You know what I mean? I think Erik is more of a cerebral coach, where Riley was more of a motivational type of guy.
Oh, absolutely. You still can't find a single quote, even now, where Erik Spoelstra is ripping Jimmy Butler. You know he's seething behind the scenes, but forward-facing, can't imagine what we're going to get pregame tonight. But I know it's not going to be enough to write a story, because that's who Erik Spoelstra is. He'll lean forward. He'll going, I know you want your storylines. You're not going to get them here. That's who he is. If Erik Spoelstra had done last season's end-of-season press conference instead of Pat Riley, there would not have been a challenge to Jimmy Butler. Would not have been a question about an extension. It would have been pushed aside. There would have been maybe some mumbo-jumbo, and we would have moved on. Instead, Pat Riley still thought the machismo of who he is and what he had stood for something, and Jimmy was just sitting there like Tom Cruise saying, show me the money, because it's only all about the money. Do you think Pat Riley, at any point when he was with Showtime, or even with New York, or when he arrived on that cruise ship in 1995, he said to himself, hey, one day a player's going to be earning $1 million a game. It's a different world. All the cachet of Pat Riley doesn't trump someone being able to earn $1 million a game.
Okay, so Ira, Memphis, he doesn't want to go to Memphis.
Correct.
Obviously. But if the other one is not going to happen and you're approaching the deadline, why not change your mind, dude? I mean, if you say you want to really compete, you got a hell of a lot better chance of winning a title.
1,000% agree with that. I agree with that, and I pointed that out to his agent. And I pointed it out, why not go somewhere, get deep in the playoffs, regain the respect elsewhere? But here's the deal. They want to go to a place where they're guaranteed to get the extension, and he will not get the extension in Memphis, and he can opt in for one more year at $52 million. And then Memphis is in the same position as the Heat. They got a player who wants money that's not being offered. They have to deal with that. Look, Memphis is in third place in a very competitive West right now. They're doing fine. Certain coaches, certain front offices can deal with that. I'm not saying that Tyler Jenkins is not a very good coach. He is. I'm not saying that the front office and what they're doing and have done in Memphis is not very good. But if Pat Riley and Erik Spoelstra can't control them, do you honestly think what's going on in Memphis are going to be able to control Jimmy Butler? And what's going to happen is this.
Hey, listen, I think Memphis is stupid for wanting Jimmy Butler. But if Memphis is stupid enough to want Jimmy Butler and you can unload him, then you go ahead.
I think the Heat would do it in the Brandon Clark and a couple of other pieces and draft picks. They would do it in a heartbeat.
Do I really want Jimmy Butler around a John Morant who's already, a loose cannon, sorry, pun intended. No, I really don't want that, actually, to be quite honest. I don't want that around me. But if these idiots want to go add that to that mix, you go ahead. That's fine with me. I'm just thinking as a Heat fan, I want him to get the hell out of here. I want them to get something for him. I want those young guys to start growing on their own so we can find out who's who. I'm enjoying the hell out of watching Khalil Ware play, man. So I don't know.
As long as you accept what they are as a team restructuring, having to take a step back, to take a step up, to get some capital and draft capital they lost, I'm fine with that also. Here's my nightmare scenario, Big O.
Why weren't we good in 08 and 09? They told us what they were doing, and I know they still got to the playoffs, but they told us what they were doing.
Went out against Boston in the first round, but at least they were honest and upfront with the approach, and I have no issue with that. Here's my nightmare scenario.
Now, let's stop lying to ourselves here over the last few years. That's what I want to stop doing. I want the Heat to stop lying to themselves. I want you writers to stop lying to yourselves. You have a shot at all these players and this team. This team's going nowhere. turn the page, dude.
I agree. And I wrote that Sunday in the Sun Sentinel. You can't look at this team and saying we're a championship contender. You're not. And that's okay. Most teams aren't. It happens. Teams go up, teams go down. You get the rare teams who endure. Everyone forget before the Celtics run, they were god awful. And it takes time, and you have to get your draft capital, and you have to bring yourself back up. And it happens. Cleveland, the same thing. They work their way through draft capital. Memphis, the same way. And I'm fine with that. Here's my nightmare scenario, Big O, and it's going to be awful. February 6th, the Miami Heat work out a trade. They send Jimmy Butler somewhere he doesn't want to go. They get some picks. They get some nice players, and they say, hey, we're set for the season. February 7th, Jimmy Butler goes in somewhere and fails his physical, maybe on purpose. Maybe he brings out an MRI that no one else has ever seen. Well, the Heat can't say, okay, we'll do a different deal now. It's too late. There's no more trading deadline. That's why you damn well better be careful. Kids out there, you should be listening, of who you get in bed with. Because when you get in bed with the wrong person, all hell can break loose. And Big O, welcome to all hell.
Yeah. All right. So trading deadline. Any other options on the books for the trading deadline?
I want to see the Miami Heat be as proactive as they can. You know what? You want Jimmy Butler? Well, I want his good buddy Terry Rozier alongside with him. If you're that desperate to take A, you also have to take B. So I do think there could be other components also, because let's face it, Big O, Pat Riley typically goes big or goes home. So if you have to make this over and you have Duncan Robinson's contract and you have Terry Rozier's contract and you want draft capital, yeah, I wouldn't just limit it to Jimmy. And a matter of fact, if Jimmy has somewhere he really wants to go and you have a team like Phoenix who really wants to take someone, you know what? I'm not saying that I'm necessarily wanting a Grayson Allen, for example, from the Suns, but there might be other pieces. There's Dunn there, who's a nice player. You can arrange things to put yourself in a better position from the tax, from the cap, from the aprons also. So go big and don't just get bullied by one player. You become aggressive also. I think this could be a big Heat trade deadline. I think this team could look a lot different after the trade deadline. If they can get part A going, yeah, I go for part B and part C also.
Yeah, by the way, I know it's the Nets, but it was a fun win on Saturday night.
Yeah,
right?
The Nets are ghastly, though. It's like saying, okay, the Heat beat the Motor City Grind. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. What the roster the Nets had and the players they sat out, like Cameron Johnson on purpose, they're trying to lose, and you still had the Heat there in the middle of the third quarter, desperately fighting. This is a Heat team still trying to find its way also. This is a Heat team still with plenty of negative components, but there's promise, there's hope, there's youth. That's all you want to see as long as you can accept that.
Yeah, I'm good with that, man. I have no problem. I know they're not going anywhere. I'm fine with that. I'd rather watch to see who develops,
Sure.
who's who, what's what. So that way you can go into the offseason with now a plan on how to start rebuilding the whole thing. Plus, you know, what's also really important to move on from Jimmy Butler, because I get this all from people, and this is just some stupid shit. Oh, well, the culture's gone. That's it. It'll never come back again. It's like, yo, dude, the culture's there. It's just you have disruption in it for a moment. And then then you move on. That's it. Plenty of teams that have had good cultures have some moments, some bumps in the road.
Absolutely.
Shaq had a run-in with Riley. You got rid of him. You moved on, dude.
You had your differences with Tim Hardaway. That era ended. With Shaq, it ended. With LeBron, it ended. It happens. You move on. You take a chance. You get a strong-willed player. That's all part of it. You don't back down. You're not afraid. But you have to decide at the right time when to move on. You've spoken about this often with the Dolphins. We spoke about it with the Jimmy extension. You have to know when that moment is to say no. They tried with Kyle Lowry. They tried to move off Kyle Lowry. They tried to get better because of it. It didn't work out. Hell, that happens. At the moment Terry Rozier was traded for, look, no one liked the draft choice going out, but everyone thought, hey, this is a guy who could score. This team needs offense. You know what? The Heat took a shot. Sometimes you hit a home run. Sometimes you strike out. That stuff happens, but they've always been proactive. Can they be proactive right now with Jimmy Butler?
Well, let's hope so. And listen, in the end, what I want to tell the Heat Nation, since Riley's been here, what is it, Ira? San Antonio, the Lakers, the Bulls, and then what? Then Miami? No, actually, the Bulls were before Riley, right?
Oh, they were before. They were when he was tormented with the Knicks. You maybe could put the Celtics. You could put the Celtics in there. You could put the Cavaliers during the 2 LeBron eras. But still, a top 5.
But there's only been 3 or 4 teams since Riley that have had more success than the Heat.
in that period. Yes,
right. The Cavs are not one of them, but the Lakers and San Antonio and the Bulls. Okay, but the Heat is like right behind those teams in the last 30 years of overall success.
Legacy of success. And so you have to, people, accept moments like this.
Yes,
right. It's not a crappy organization. It maybe just ran into the crappy person at the wrong time.
Right. That's it. And if it has to take a couple steps back, you have to be appreciative of the big picture. And at least right now, they're willing to face the problems, and let's see if they can overcome them over the next couple of years, man. That's it. What do you got going on the Sentinel?
You know what? I tracked all of these missed Jimmy games. Again, he's missed 14 in the last 19. I chronicled when he played, when he didn't play, why he did play, why he didn't, as we wait for tonight's decision, because I can never recall a month like this. There is so much. Even LeBron, when he left, he left. It was July. 2 weeks later, he was gone. Oh, it's terrible. What do you mean we're stuck, with McRoberts and Danny Granger? But at least you moved on. With Shaq, he started moping late January. By early February, he was traded for Sean Marion. You moved on. The thing that I think galls Pat Riley is how long this has gone on. That we're 6 weeks into it. Really, if you look at December 11th, when Chams first reported the trade desire, we're just about to hit our second month of this. That's what's made this one so different. It's become a never-ending soap opera. The one thing about soap operas with Pat Riley,
by the way, it's the most public one too.
Yes, and it's a different era, as you're right. There, with the social media, with podcasts and everything, there's no hiding. With insiders, there's no hiding. With people able to throw crap out there. This weekend, Channing Frye went on a podcast, and it was repeated everywhere, that the Heat sat 2 hours on the tarmac last Thursday waiting for Jimmy. No, they didn't. They left early. They waited a few minutes. They knew what was going on. But once the misinformation gets out there, Big O, it's everywhere, because there is no journalism anymore. There are no people double and triple checking and making sure they have multiple sources. It's let's get this out there as soon as we can. We're going to get the clicks. By the way,
we don't have enough media on media crime. We need more media on media crime. We need media calling out other people. Hey,
except there's not a lot of traditional media left. Everyone's gone to the other side, to the dark side, and that's the problem. So I know with the Miami Heat, when it comes to either Barry Jackson, Anthony Chang, or myself, there's people who were on the scene at the shoot-arounds, talking to the coach, talking to Andy Ellisberg, getting the full story. Other people, hey, look what I found out. Okay, what's that backgrounded on? Who did you call? Do you know for a fact that's true? No, but I had it first. What are you going to do?
That's right. I'm with you. Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Better yet, subscribe to the South Florida Sun Sentinel so you can get all the great insight. Ira, as always, thank you, my friend. Have an interesting week. We will catch up.
And all you people out there, stay the hell off my lawn. Thank you, Big O.
You got it. All right, Acura Pembroke Pines. They're at 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 and Pines. And tell them that Big O sent you, man. Larry Schlossberg, Pat Nasto, Tony Stampone, all the amazing people out there. We got the customer appreciation sales event going on right now with the #1 volume sales dealership in the United States, baby. And the ZDX is there. You can get it for $449 a month, 0.9% financing for 72 months. The 2025 Integra, $339 a month, 3.9% financing for 60 months. The RDX, 3.9% financing for 72 months. You can get it for $399. And the MDX Tech, man, that's like a spaceship. We can give you $10,000 off the MSRP. Get on down there. The lot is loaded. It is overflowing. They've got a bunch of certified pre-owned vehicles also. So check it out and tell them that Big O sent you at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
This is the Big O Show.